welcome to another episode of What's on the Pile. I'm Nathan Besner, and joining me is Shane Lee,
Hey, what's up?
Jane Belcastro,
Hiya.
Matt Wagner,
It's Wagner.
and Jenner.
And Jenner.
This week we'll be discussing the world of Guillermo Del Toro and his latest film, Nightmare Alley, starring Bradley Cooper and Rooney Mara and a bunch of other awesome people. Mary Steenburgen shows up. It's a great cast.
Yeah.
For like two scenes.
Yeah. The film is about Stanton Carlyle, played by Bradley Cooper, finding his way into employment with a big top group of traveling entertainers where he meets Molly, played by Rooney Mara. Carlyle begins showing interest in swindling people with a mesmerism act and that lines his pockets and boosts his ego. Enter the femme fatale, Cate Blanchett, as Dr. Lilith Ritter, and things start to get interesting. So let's talk a little bit about Guillermo Del Toro first, at his films a bit. Do any of you have a favorite Del Toro film?
Pan's Labyrinth.
Yep, Pan's Labyrinth for me too.
Absolutely. I got to see that one during its theatrical run, which was great fun seeing a generally popular film in Spanish with subtitles.
Yep.
And still just blew me away from line one. And yeah, really, I've only revisited it a couple of times, but in my impression of it, that is pretty much a perfect film. I don't think I could offer anything that would improve it and take away anything that would improve it. I just love that movie pretty much front to back.
So what do you think, Matt? Magic real or no?
Magic. But
It's a movie.
yeah.
No, but I think Del Toro himself
It's
said.
ambiguous.
No, but there's people who insist that it's not real. I think Del Toro himself said the door she uses at the end proves that it's magic. There's no way
Yeah.
she could have physically gotten from one location to the other if it weren't real. So I firmly believe that it's real. I mean, also there's the romantic in me that likes to think that
Mhm.
she does go to another place, and after all that suffering and stuff like that. Hopefully, no one here has not seen it. We're kind of
Oh,
spoiling
I
it.
don't remember it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I've seen
Oh.
it.
I remember
Y-
disliking the ending myself. I think
Really?
just
Oh.
because, well, yeah, a little girl dies, essentially. It's
Yeah.
not. It is ambiguous, yes, but it still happens, and that always
One way or another, whether literally or yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I found
Figuratively.
it. I found it to be a haunting film and very affecting. So those are both good points toward the film, and it's a beautiful film. I just got so mad at that ending.
Yeah, I mean the war stuff is the most harrowing part of the movie. I think that's scarier than the Pale Man and stuff like that, like the real life stuff that's going on there.
Yeah.
And
And I think it's also extremely instructive in that it forms a beautiful pairing with Devil's Backbone, in that they are both pretty much the same story, except the Devil's Backbone is a story for boys and Pan's Labyrinth is a story for girls.
I
I've
can
got
absolutely see that.
there's
Yeah.
another
Mhm.
pairing that works really well too on Criterion Channel. It's a movie called Spirit of the Beehive. It's
Hmm.
also by a Spanish filmmaker, and Del Toro himself has a segment on the streaming service talking about how that was really influential to him. It's a very
Hmm.
not similar. Has a similar sort of magic stuff. It's also set during Franco times. Very highly recommended if you guys have a chance to watch it.
Okay.
I can't remember who the filmmaker is, but it's called Spirit of the Beehive.
What is it? You said it's magic realism, or it's... Can you
Kind
give us a
of.
general outline?
It's another sort of precocious girl during wartime, and
Okay.
she believes that she's communicating with spirits. It's been 3 years since I watched it, but
That's one of those ones that's been on my list for a long time. I've never actually gotten around to it, but it's on my radar.
Mm. I
Yeah,
hadn't heard
I
of
would
it,
recommend
so
it.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've never heard of it.
I think I randomly found it on Criterion Channel and just watched it, and then saw that Del Toro loved it too, and you could really see the influence there. So highly
And
recommend
it
it.
goes on the pile.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Devil's Backbone, that's my favorite Del Toro movie.
Mhm.
I love that one so much, which is interesting that it's kind of the boys' version, and I like that version. Maybe
Well,
because I'm a little boy myself.
Well, it's, boys want ghosts and girls want fawns, and Mr. Tumnus. It's Guillermo's own little version of Mr. Tumnus, and instead, in Devil's Backbone, you get a haunting specter that is first terrifying and then is your friend and wanders around with you.
I love that,
So,
and I love the
Mhm.
effects in that film. They're so well done, just really really beautifully done. Actually,
it's also,
I kind of tried to model one of my short films that we all worked on together, Exit Interview. I tried to
Starring
model
Matt
them.
Wagner
Starring Matt Wagner.
and Andy Jenner.
Yep.
Yep.
Um,
It's less starring. But
I don't know.
It wa-
You get
it-
the biggest laugh.
It was a wonderful cameo.
Yeah.
I had one line.
It was a great line. And a wonderful hangdog expression.
Well, that's what I'm good at.
Yeah, I think you, Nate, you sent Matt and I out to get art supplies because that was the prop we had to use, and
Yep.
we art had watercolors. This is hilarious.
Can I bring my watercolors? Just
Yeah.
No.
It worked better when I had more hair.
Well, yeah.
No, I mean, it can't be overstated how utterly marvelous the Criterion box set of Pan's Labyrinth and The Devil's Backbone and Kronos is.
Mm.
I want to say that Kronos is my favorite Del Toro movie. I'm basic. It's Pacific Rim. I
know. I was just about to
Totally
say that.
fine.
Well,
I haven't seen
all the
Kronos.
Hellboys
It's on my
are really
it's-
great though too.
Hellboy
Hellboy's
2
good,
is
too.
way the hell up there as well. I actually like Hellboy 2 a lot more than the first one.
Really?
but,
I like
I
them
am-
both. Whatever. But
I-
yeah,
yeah.
Pacific Rim.
No
That was
Love
just
for
a-
Blade. Which one did he do? Blade 2?
Blade
Yeah.
2 was
Blade 2.
pretty good, but that
Yeah,
was
Blade
around.
2 was
I
great.
mean, I also really tremendously like Mimic. I've liked or loved every movie that the guy has made. I think my number 3 after Hellboy 2 probably would be Crimson Peak.
Yeah, that's
Haven't seen that yet
high
either.
on my list. I just love that one.
I'm actually going to differ a little bit, and I know this is not a popular opinion, but I actually don't like Hellboy 2. And I really liked Hellboy 1.
Mhm.
And it would be sitting down to go through parts of it to sort of explicate why I don't particularly like it. I think it was too blunt in its messaging. But at the same time, I love Pacific Rim, which is blunt as hell. So
Yeah.
that doesn't make a lot of sense consistently from movie to movie. But it may be just that I'm a big fan of Hellboy, the original comics, and I
Yeah.
still follow them. There are still Hellboy comics coming out every month or so. I still follow all of them and love them to pieces. And I thought that Hellboy 2, by turning into the Shrek 3 of the Hellboy series, where Shrek has anxieties about having a kid, sort of did Hellboy a disservice by reducing him from his character in the comics to a much more basic figure. But that might just be me being overly precious with a beloved property.
Do you guys remember when
Well, I mean,
Hellboy came?
I was just going to say, you react to the movie the way that you react.
Mhm.
Your reaction is inherently legitimate just because it's yours, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're all formed by our experiences and likes and
Mhm.
dislikes. So
Do you guys remember when Hellboy first came out in theaters? There was I wouldn't say fiasco, but a minor thing where they were still using reels back then. I think they were mostly showing films on film. There's a scene near the end of a reel that cuts to black for a very long time. And so projectionists thought it was over, so they would switch to the next reel. So a lot of screenings, they left out like a 5-minute scene. And apparently that scene,
wow.
Apparently-
I missed that.
apparently a few things don't make sense if you don't have that scene. I haven't seen the movie in a long time. I don't remember what the scene was, but I remember hearing about this. Thought
Well,
it was
I
kind
mean,
of funny.
this is why very often something that I've been privy to in a couple of instances, just because our friend Ty was a projectionist for a very long time, was occasionally getting a look at the directors or the autorial projectionist instructions that they occasionally received. I never saw one for Hellboy. I think that was before Ty's time, but still.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's a good idea, and it's a good idea for the projectionist to actually read the damn thing, I expect.
Yeah. You can put all the instructions you like, and if nobody reads them, it's not going to do anybody any good.
Yeah. No,
It's sort of a lesson from my day job, but
I still have a copy of the one that was distributed with Prometheus, which is hidden inside the frame that I have for the poster for that, so I'm very proud of that one.
So, what is your opinion of Kronos? I like it, especially as more than you expect it to be, because it's pretty much sold to you by the cover and by the concept as a straight up vampire story, and it is definitely more than that. But there's still a little bit of looseness about it that I feel like Del Toro didn't have a complete grasp on his style or his approach.
It was very assured for a debut, however.
Yes.
I first caught it on its original VHS release when it was still in rentals, and was very, very impressed. I had that, this Del Toro guy is going places moment. I don't claim to be especially prescient most of the time,
Mhm.
but he kind of cemented it for me a few years later when he was introducing Mimic months before its actual theatrical release at, I want to say, Dragon Con 1993.
Oh, wow.
And amongst other things, he was a very arresting speaker. And I forget his exact phrasing, but he had said that he was personally consecrated to the science fiction, fantasy, and horror genres. And that, just hit me right in the, okay, this guy's all right by me, especially when he name dropped Vol Luton when he was talking about the thing.
Mm.
And I know that often children in peril is a bugaboo, but the sort of gleeful mercilessness of the one particular instance of children in peril in that movie hit fairly effective. I guess it was 96, I think. In any event, it was months before Mimic came out. I had the good fortune to see it, introduced by Del Toro himself. Liked the guy tremendously, and am consistently gratified that he's carved out his own sort of niche in cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's also a little bit of an actor, sort of. One of my favorite video games of the past 10 years is Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding, where he plays a character named, I think he plays Deadman. It's completely mocap. It's him. It's obviously him. He doesn't voice it, but it sounds like the person doing the voice has an accent, has a very similar accent. And I mean, there's not much to say about the performance. It's very good. I love the fact that Kojima is such a big fan of his that he's like, come be in my game. I believe
Yeah.
Nicholas Winding Refn is also in the game.
Really?
It's just a game where nobody said no to Kojima, and he just puts in all the stuff he likes. I think it's a masterpiece. A lot of people just call it a walking simulator because 90% of it is just making deliveries on foot. But it's an amazing game. I absolutely love it.
I mean, Kojima comes calling. You pretty much, if you know who Kojima is at all, you answer the call and you do what he tells you to.
Yeah, I believe Norman Reedus got a call from Kojima, and someone just told him, take this call. And he's the main star of the game.
My only exposure to the game is with a Rick and Morty advertisement for it. But
I haven't seen that.
It's fairly amusing. It's too difficult to explain. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, Death Stranding's also a little bit of a fuck you to Konami in a way because Kojima and Norman Reedus and Guillermo Del Toro were all going to work on Silent Hills together. They did a demo called PT that famously got removed from the Sony store, never to be heard from again. And if you have a download of it, then you're considered very special because it's scary as shit.
I've seen walkthroughs. It's scary as shit.
I think that's the game that Norman Reedus got the phone call for, and then he's like, let's do another one. Or Kojima was like, let's do another one where you're fully mocap and we're going to do a whole performance. And he's like, yeah, let's do it.
And they ended up making what's probably the greatest experimental video game of all time.
Yeah. It's in my top 5 of all time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people hate it, which is just fine.
Well, a lot of people
that makes it better.
Yeah. It is a lot of walking.
Special.
Yeah, you're one of the elite that can actually appreciate it.
No, but I mean, one of the things that I love about Del Toro, to eke it back in that direction a little bit, is the way that he's sort of parlayed his success and his influence in horror in general to, as I understand it, kind of act to a great extent as a mentor for a lot of independent, particularly horror filmmakers, to the point where it's almost a running gag when we're watching marginal or lesser known or independent horror movies around this place, that sooner or later, somewhere in the credits, usually somewhere in the special thanks, there's going to be a special thanks to Guillermo Del Toro. It's just, it's like in 7 out of 10 independent horror movies that were shot on something that resembles film.
Well, it should also be noted that he seems to be jockeying for the position of taking the throne from Forey J. Ackerman as the new filmic center. If you I didn't buy it. I should have bought it, but he had a picture book come out that was a collection of photographs of all of the film memorabilia that he has collected of all of the great Universal monster movies and the like. And he has like great elaborate setups. I think he sent it on tour, didn't he?
Yeah, I know. He also, as I understand it, has a second house for his collection, which I have to just.
You can actually see
envy.
video of the house that in question on YouTube somewhere. Just, I guess, search it. But I've seen it. It's amazing.
It really
exactly.
is.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
a museum.
Impeccable taste.
He's one of those directors where it took him a while to make a really great movie, and there's probably going to be a bit of debate as to where that actually hit. But he's never made a bad movie. He's never made a movie that wasn't good, at least.
Mhm.
I really didn't like Hellboy 2.
Well,
I haven't seen Kronos
That's
or
okay.
Crimson Peak. Those are both on my list.
Okay.
have you
So-
seen Crimson Peak? You said I'm sorry, I didn't. hear you.
I've not. Are you asking me,
Oh.
Jane?
Yeah, it is very
No.
scary, but it's beautiful.
Well, at the risk
so
of
pretty.
It's
flash
super pretty.
forwarding to our second half, where presumably we're going to be talking about the specific film in discussion here,
Mhm.
I think that they kind of flubbed the advertising for Nightmare Alley, kind of in the same way that they sort of flubbed the advertising for Crimson Peak, which is making it look like a straight horror movie, where in the case of Crimson Peak, it's more of a gothic with a horror or a supernatural element to it. And in the case of Nightmare Alley, it's more of a occasionally particularly grotesque straight-up film noir.
Yeah,
I didn't see
wouldn't
any
even say-
advertising for Nightmare Alley. None. Except for I saw a poster at the theater. That's literally all I've ever seen of Nightmare
I knew
Alley.
nothing about it.
I
Nothing.
actually wrote into the intro to the second half of the show that about that trailer and how
Sorry,
deceiving it was.
I hadn't seen. I
haven't seen it.
I watched it after the movie. I went in completely blind.
Still haven't seen it.
Well, the point is, unless you were looking on YouTube the day that it dropped, or the day that the trailer dropped, you were going to miss it anyway. I mean, thank God that Ty is so vigilant about all of this stuff, or I probably would have missed it itself.
Yeah.
And of course, the title itself leads you to expect. I mean, if you don't know the source on the thing, leads you to expect something. I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but it leads you to expect something a lot straighter horror.
Oh,
is what
no.
I'm saying.
Uh-oh.
Well, we're having technical difficulties with Jenner now. He seems to have crashed.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Nope, he's back.
He's
Oh,
back,
hello?
kind of.
Testing.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Your video is staggering a bit, but
Yeah, I can
the
still
audio.
see myself. But,
Oh, there we go. You're back. You're back.
Some of those
Okay.
freeze frames were very funny, and
Yep, all y'all watch the YouTube.
well, I'd like to pivot a little bit to something that Shane came up with.
Oh, we're going to do that now? Okay.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it now because I'm pretty excited to try it out. You want to take it away?
Okay, so I've got a couple of quick games to play for you guys. So this is going to be, the answers are all movies that we've done on the podcast. So Matt,
boy.
you might be at a
Ooh.
little bit of a disadvantage.
Oh boy.
So
I
what
will
I've,
be too, because my memory is crap.
so
let's-
what I've done for the first game is I've taken some 1-star or 2-star reviews from Amazon and IMDb, and I'm going to read some excerpts that I think are funny, and you guys are going to try to guess what the movie is. So
I guess
So-
my mother is a werewolf.
So for this first
Good
movie,
one.
okay, I'm going to start with some harder clues and try to gradually get into the easier ones.
All right.
So here's a movie we've done on
I
the
like
podcast.
this idea. This sounds fun. I'm proud to be a part of it.
All right, so first of all, I'm going to read this word for word, so it's not all going to make sense. Okay, so quote. Now, for the scenario, I haven't found anything comparable to Francois Truffaut or Woody Allen's movie, barely a small reference to Tarantino's works, and maybe a small, very small Tati influence. So that's the first clue. That I'm going to say straight out, that's not going to help you. I think it's funny considering what the movie is. Next review, I kind of feel like this was for the wrong movie, like maybe this person made a mistake, but you'll see why I left this in. Title of the review is Worst Horror Movie Ever. Seriously, it wasn't scary. It was the opposite of what a horror thriller is supposed to be. So I think that's for the wrong movie. But then the next review was pretty scary. We had to turn it off 15 minutes into it. Too much evil in it.
Too much evil?
Yeah, so any clues yet? I'm going to start going to the
Warlock.
sort of the giveaway one.
One Cut of the Dead.
Warlock.
No.
I didn't know.
All right, here's one that might give it away. When we arrived, the place was jam-packed with what seemed like all adult men. It smelled very badly. I tried 5 more times to see the film in different theaters, but only 3 were airing it, and I kept running into a similar situation of foul-smelling theaters and unkempt adult men.
We
Is this
haven't
an
covered
anime?
Grindhouse.
Oh God.
No
I'm
clues yet?
No.
I'm trying to think of movies.
Little
we've done.
Women. No.
No.
Geez, I need to pull up the list of movies we've covered.
Huh.
I've got 2 more. These might give it away. All right. One is even worse than the Emoji Movie, a billion times worse than The Last Jedi could ever hope to be.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So this is it sounds like a kid's thing.
It's a kid's thing, but it's a horror movie?
Well, see, I think the horror movie was
My
the
Little
wrong.
Pony.
Yes,
Yo!
Oh!
it was My Little Pony.
Wow.
Good.
It was
job.
filled with men, sweaty, unkempt
Yep.
men.
Oh, brownies.
God.
Oh.
So
Oh,
the
we
worst
made
horror
the
movie thing I ever, I
brownies.
think, was the wrong. I thought was maybe the wrong movie, but then the next review said pretty scary. We had to turn it off. Too much evil in it. So was the movie scary? I don't even remember the movie anymore, to be
Was
honest.
there evil in it?
No.
There were-
If I was 5 and I hadn't been traumatized by Unico and Unico on the Isle of Magic, I might have thought it was scary. If I was 5.
Oh, Unico.
There were many reviews saying it was too scary
Unico
for
will
their
fuck
kids.
you up. Don't
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't-
you remember they were
don't
freezing
don't
all
you
of
be
the
mocking.
I'm not
unicorns
mocking.
and
I love
everything.
Unico.
Yeah,
Okay,
Unicorn's
okay.
great.
We've seen you. Yeah, he showed me Unico.
Yeah, early 80s unicorn movies will mess your ass up.
I have
gonna
not
say-
shown Unico to my daughter yet. So.
We've got calluses to show that we had really amazing children's films in our day, like emotional callousing.
Oh yeah, no, early 80s shit will smear your soul on the damn floor.
Watership Down.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's do another one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was fun.
Mhm.
All right, so here's one. The human drama was just too stupid and tedious to witness on the screen. Okay, and this one, I'm reading this word for word. Very boring, only hardcore new generation bent on destruction fans who aren't into character development will like this. My favorite one is audio language English. It is not. I have fallen for this twice! Exclamation, exclamation, angry face.
Is this the raid?
No.
Oh.
Is
Blank is in the movie maybe a total of 10 minutes.
Oh.
This was hardly a memorable addition to the Blank franchise for me. That one I think is hilarious. Whoops.
the blank? And
Franchise.
Oh.
This was hardly a memorable addition to this franchise.
Babe 2.
No.
No.
And that's actually all I have for this movie. I thought the franchise thing might give it away. And Blank is in the movie for maybe a total of 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Oh
that's a
my God.
big one.
Mm.
And this is something we've covered on this program.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
And
I'm
Matt's
not
point-
coming up with
As soon as Matt looks at the
Me
list, he's going to know what it is.
Yeah.
No, but go ahead.
Probably
No,
not.
Look at the list,
if I look at
man.
the
I
list,
would
that,
assume-
that
Y'all
feels like
cheat.
cheating.
Y'all cheat.
But yeah, but
I
I
already
don't.
know I don't know it.
Matt wasn't here for this episode though.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Well, I
think.
have an excuse then.
Yeah, so look it up. So we'll know, and no one will feel bad.
Yeah, look up the list. Give us some.
All right.
All right.
let's see.
It's not in
Do we-
English. It's not in English because this guy has fallen for it twice. He's bought the DVD with the wrong language twice.
This is a very special individual. All right.
So
Yeah,
wait,
there's
so
only
the-
50 episodes here.
And the human drama was lacking.
It was
Oh.
too stupid and tedious to witness on the screen.
Last
And-
Airbender.
No, it's not. It's a remember franchise. This was hardly a memorable addition to the franchise,
But
which
it-
is hilarious.
Mortal Kombat?
No,
Okay.
it's not in English.
I'm looking at. Oh, okay. Okay. Ba-ba-da-ba-da.
I mean, if you guys are all stuck, I can just tell you the answer, so we can
You're
move
gonna
on.
have to.
I
At
was
least
gonna
it.
guess shit. That I don't know that the animated bear and what the hell
Oh.
was that?
Did we
Ernest
watch-
and
Ernest and
Celestine? No,
Celestine.
that wasn't part
No.
of a franchise.
Well,
No.
it was part
From
of
a
a book
book.
series, so that's why I thought somebody might call that a franchise in this day and age. I'm
All right,
thinking
you guys-
outside the
Okay.
box.
Okay.
You want the answer?
Dune?
You guys want the answer?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
It is Godzilla.
Oh,
God
Oh.
damn it.
Oh,
It's hardly a memorable addition to the Godzilla franchise.
It was
Which
the
I think is-
original.
Yeah,
right?
that's
It
why
was-
it's funny.
wow.
wow. That's
Duh.
depressing.
That
Wow.
entirely expected.
I don't think my brain can think that way.
Yeah, no, you don't consider the film that originated a franchise as an addition to the franchise.
That's
awesome.
why it's great.
Or
That's
I-
why
or I-
it's such
or
a
I
great
would have
review.
said The Exorcist like 5 minutes ago, just flailing around in the dark.
Or The Omen. That's what I was looking at, but I'm like, no, they wouldn't say that about the first movie in a franchise. But then
Well,
I
but they
realized
did.
then I realized we're dealing with idiots on the internet.
Yeah, these reviews are amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're fun.
kind
All right, so do you want to do a? So those are the two I have for that game. Do you want to do the other game, or do you guys want to talk about something else?
No, let's do the other game.
I'm curious about
Okay.
the other
The
game.
other game.
Okay, so what I'm
Yeah.
going to do is I'm going to name a bunch of actors, or I'm going to name a bunch of movies.
Oh, boy.
One of our films has an actor from each one of these movies.
Oh, I'm good at this sort of thing.
So if
Yeah,
I say
he
so,
is.
so if I
said,
say
little did he realize.
He's
Yeah,
a
so-
savant.
so if I say like Star Wars, you could be like, oh, Mark Hamill, Wizards, or something like that. So I'm going to name a bunch of movies, and these all contain an actor
Oh,
from
boy.
a movie we've done. All right, so I'm going
That's
to
a
go.
step removed from 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Not
I'm
gonna
going to
be good
say.
at this at all.
7 degrees then.
So I'm
Go
going to say the Lego Movie, Tombstone, Saving Private Ryan, and Walk Hard: The Dewey Cox Story.
Ooh.
So
Matt Damon, maybe? No,
Oh.
have we done a Matt Damon movie?
I don't think so. I was
Saving
just-
Private Ryan. I will tell you, Saving Private Ryan is a little bit of a trick. A lot of people don't know this actor is in this movie.
John C.
Oh.
Riley?
I was
we
thinking that
supposed
at
to-
first, but
No.
it's not. He's not in Saving Private Ryan.
Okay, Saving Private
No,
Ryan.
I'm sorry. One actor from each of these movies is in. I think
Another movie we've
Oh,
done.
I explained this wrong, sorry.
okay.
Sorry, I explained it wrong.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, wow.
Okay,
So it's a
so
conglomerate, Kevin
say it
Bacon.
again.
So we're,
so-
we're guessing the movie and possibly the actors that we're thinking of in this case.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. let me
So
think about
Lego
this.
Movie, Tombstone, Saving Private Ryan, and Walk Hard: The Dewey Cox Story.
Hmm. What did we see with John C. Riley in it?
Licorice Pizza, but
That's not
Yeah,
it.
not
that's
Licorice
not
Pizza.
it.
barely in it. Yeah.
Oh goodness. Let's see.
We're all thinking
So-
very
yeah,
hard.
sorry, I just threw a bunch of dead air into the podcast.
Yeah.
This is known as easily edited.
Come back with
Only
something
don't
else.
because that was really funny.
And if you
Yeah.
want, then if you want a hint, I'll tell you one of the actors from one of the movies.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll say these are all giveaways. Well, the Lego Movie was Elizabeth Banks.
Oh, Slither.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh.
All right. So Tombstone.
So-
What do you got?
Greg
Who's-
Henry?
No.
No.
Uh,
Michael Rooker.
Yes.
Oh,
What about
okay.
He
Saving
was in
Private?
Tombstone?
Yeah. What about Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah, I don't get
Private Ryan to Slither?
I don't know if a lot of people know this actor's in the movie, but he is. He has a very memorable scene.
in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A very short but memorable scene. He's barely in it.
Is
Probably
that...
Nathan Fillion.
Yes, it's Nathan Fillion.
Oh.
Really?
Fillion.
Where's Nathan Fillion in Saving Private Ryan?
He's the wrong Ryan they find first, and it turns out his brothers are all
Oh.
children.
Okay.
Interesting.
And then Walk
Wow.
Hard is Jenna Fisher.
Okay.
Okay,
There's
I
no-
would not have gotten that one.
Wow. That was hard.
That was
Yeah, I
difficult.
didn't know it was going to be that hard.
These things are all obvious when you build them, and then they are not obvious for other people.
Yeah,
But it's still fun.
that's true.
No, that was great.
That was a tough one.
Yeah.
One more?
We have
have
time
another?
for one
All
more.
right, we can do one more. This one maybe will be a little bit easier. I don't know. No. All right, Escape from New York, Get Shorty, Pete's Dragon, the original, and Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Ooh.
Angela Lansbury from Bedknobs and Broomsticks would be my guess.
Don't know that we've done any Lansbury.
Like we've done any
No.
Lansbury movies.
Let's see.
I wonder if one of the kids.
Oh,
what's the other?
What were those first two again?
Who's the other lead?
Escape from New York, Get Shorty, the original Pete's Dragon. Also, I didn't know this person was in Pete's Dragon. I had to look it up. And then Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Love Bedknobs.
Yeah, that's an
Yeah, me too.
old movie though.
Hey.
So maybe a child star.
Or the other lead who, Mr. Banks
Wait.
from
Yeah,
Mary
Mr.
Poppins.
Banks. I can't remember his name.
I can't remember it either.
Well, there's no chance they all did voices for the My Little Pony movie, is there?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
No.
Probably not. That would be a sneaky thing to do, though.
The Straight Story.
No.
No? Shit.
Oh.
Unless these actors also were in Straight Story.
Well, no, Harry
It's
Dean
always
Stanton
possible.
was in Escape from New York, and that was the
Yeah.
only one that I could cross over directly there.
And I can't think of which of these actors I could tell you, which wouldn't be a giveaway.
Well, judging by our previous answers, I don't think one
Yeah,
would
none
be a
of them.
giveaway.
Okay. So I'll say for Bedknobs and Broomsticks, it was Roddy McDowell.
Oh. Oh, what have we done with Roddy McDowell?
We never covered Legend of Hell House. That's the only thing that jumps to mind directly.
Or Fright Night, or
Love
Planet
that.
of the Apes.
Or Fright
I
Night
love
or
all of
Planet
those.
the Apes.
Oh, what else?
Poseidon Adventure.
Adventure.
Yes!
Oh.
Yes!
So-
yeah.
Awesome.
So who do you
Oh,
think
yeah.
was? So who was in Escape from New York?
Ernest Borgnine.
Get Shorty.
Gene Hackman.
And what about Pete's Dragon? I didn't know this one.
I don't know the cast of Pete's Dragon.
No.
Apparently, Shelley Winters is in Pete's Dragon,
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, neat.
Okay.
according to
Did not know
IMDb. I mean, obviously, I
wait.
cheated and looked all these up.
Does she play the adoptive mom? I barely remember any part of Pete's Dragon.
Yeah.
The remake wasn't bad, actually.
Yeah.
I've heard that, but I
We
haven't
keep
seen
talking about
We
it.
keep
need
talking
to
about
see
that
it.
just because it was Lowry, and I'm interested now.
I feel like I saw it.
It was
but-
David Lowery,
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
the Green Knight David Lowery.
Green
Yes.
Knight David Lowry.
Oh,
We talked about this a few weeks back.
I must have forgotten.
See how shit will
Welcome to
slide
my
out of your-
world.
Welcome to adulthood. Shit just slides out of your brain, and you don't know why.
It's
Yeah.
I feel
awesome.
like somebody should edit Pete's Dragon with the Green Knight and have a grand quest to kill the dragon.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
Well,
No.
and he doesn't succeed. How's that?
Oh, yeah, I hope
A grand
not.
quest in which he's eaten by the dragon. How's that? Actually, I
Okay.
could see how you would cut in the flaming crown then.
Yeah, that would.
All right. Well, why don't we go ahead and take our break? We will be right back. And we're back. Next up, we'll be talking about Nightmare Alley, Guillermo del Toro's latest, which is film noir about Stanton Carlyle going to any lengths to satiate his ego. This was on my pile, and I've been excited to see it ever since I saw that first trailer, which we already discussed.
Sorry.
It gave a much different impression of what this film was going to be. It was not what I expected at all. It was a lot straighter than I thought it was going to be. It was a very classical film in a lot of ways, and I did not expect that going into it. I thought it was going to be a bizarre, mind-bendy horror film, and it's definitely not. It's a noir. It's a film noir, and it's shot in a classic Hollywood style that I miss a lot, and I loved seeing.
I mean, it's based on a
Well,
novel,
you-
right? And it was made in the 40s
Yeah.
as a movie too.
Yeah, so done in 47.
Yeah, you expected a Guillermo del Toro movie, and it is not that based on our definition of Guillermo del Toro up to this point, in that this is the first time we've had a movie without a supernatural or alien monster in it. Am I right?
Well, no,
Or am I-
in this case, it was riffing on the credulity of the supernatural in some of the characters. So it's
I would actually
it's supernatural adjacent, but it's about the supernatural as a con.
Yeah, I would absolutely say that, but I'd also say that if you were to pick out, Shape of Water was about the Gill Man, Hellboy was about Hellboy, Kronos was about vampires. This, at its essence, is about the circus geek,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
is sort of a monster, but not a supernatural one per se. And much of my experience of this film, I did not see the trailer, so I was not misled by that. I was misled by the fact that I knew I was going to see a Guillermo Del Toro movie, and absolutely loved it. I'm not gonna hide that in any way, shape, or form. But I loved it. The only thing that knowing it was Guillermo del Toro did for me in watching this film was in setting an expectation that was then thwarted. So I did not know where the story was going at any given point in time, and that is an incredibly rare thing for me. I did not catch what the movie was about until he woke up on the boxcar in the last 10 minutes of the film.
Really,
I
I
said-
was
Really,
like the minute he met Cate Blanchett, I'm like, hey, he's totally gonna be a geek.
Oh,
I
the-
did
the-
not.
the
Spoiler
minute- okay,
alert,
the
sorry.
minute- I also didn't know what it was about. Didn't see the trailer. The moment Dafoe explained the geek, I'm like, oh, he's the geek. I thought this was going to be a much different movie. I thought this was going to be like a Wicker Man Midsummer situation where he's the sacrificial geek. He's going to get indoctrinated. They're going to turn him into the geek over the course of the movie. I didn't realize he was going to leave. Even after he left, I thought, after he started drinking, I was like, okay, definitely the geek. But is Dafoe still pulling the strings? Is the circus still pulling the strings and making all this happen? Which was not the case. But that's about 30 minutes in the movie. That's where I thought the movie was going.
Well,
And even when it went into a different direction, I was still like suspecting. And then
Yeah,
they brought it all the way
it's-
back.
If anybody was pulling the strings, it was Enoch,
ooh,
the pickled punk.
ooh, well,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, they did
keep
on
subtle
cutting back
reference
to that.
Devil's, the subtle reference to Devil's Backbone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, then I was the one who was completely taken in by the con of the film then. So I don't set into films like this trying to figure them out before they get to the end, but
Oh,
I
me
find that
neither.
so many of them telegraph it so badly. And in this case, it got me. I absolutely did not know where the story was going at any given point in time. I had like, oh, I know where this is going. Oh, we're not going that direction. Oh, I know where this is. No, we're not going that direction.
Yeah, you
On
keep
several
expecting it to be a
occasions.
horror movie, and it's really not a horror movie.
I kept
Um,
expecting some iota of the supernatural to sneak in there because it was Guillermo del Toro, and that might have contributed to my enjoyment in not realizing where the story was going and just being able
Well,
to experience it.
Xena might have had some power. I mean, her cards were right every time, and she did.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's
Yeah, but
possible.
at the same point, they diffused that by him pointing out, it says, there are no bad cards, it's all in how you use them. There, fixed
True.
it. So,
Yeah, except he
Well,
really
he
didn't.
turned it
No,
over,
no,
which
he
is,
didn't. Well, that's also from someone who thought he could fix his own fate in a really lose-lose situation, which he should have recognized as
Worst
is.
plan ever.
Worst plan
plan.
ever.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Seriously, what did he think was going to happen?
No,
I
This
I
is-
was
well, he thought he
so
was
Never-
better than. Sorry.
Yeah, never con the unstable. Go on.
I was extremely nervous for Molly the entire
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
Yeah, we were a little worried too. We
Yeah.
were scared she was the gizmo.
Yeah.
Notably, she ended up because of the diktats of the production code in the 40s. She ended up getting him out of geekdom at the end of the 1947 version. Apparently, I've read up on this subsequently. This was not a thing that happened in the novel, and Lord knows it was not a thing that happened in this movie.
And if you want to see that 1947 one, I believe it's on Hulu, and I think it's on HBO Max, and it's on one other service I can't remember, but
Same
it
title?
is. Mhm.
Yes.
That I don't think is.
Yes, it is.
It? Okay.
Well, that was the thing that when I saw the trailer, it looked like a horror movie. It's like Nightmare Alley. Nightmare Alley. Where have I heard Nightmare? Oh, it's the story that taught everybody what a geek is.
Mm.
At least who knew. So I actually did know a bit of the background just from my friend Lou Allen having explained to me what a geek was back in the day, as well as Harlan Ellison having explained how a geek comes about at one point in the story about the time that he too ran off to the circus, and the circus ended up leaving town after they got busted with only him as a runaway and the geek in the local jail.
Ooh.
The geek
So
did not.
funny.
The geek did not react well to being in the local jail or being that far away from his hooch for that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and I've known what it was since like the 80s. I don't know. I mean, and now like the nerddom are all like, geek, it's like a power word. And
Yeah,
that's
no,
who
I
we
don't
are.
use
And I'm
that
like,
word to
no,
describe
guys,
myself.
no. Do you bite the heads off chickens? No, no.
Well,
No,
I mean,
am-
these
I-
these are the same. These are the same folks who decided to take back the term "freak" from the Todd Browning's "freaks" term. So
Mm,
Yeah, no, I like dork or wonk. I'm pretty good with both of those.
I don't
know-
care.
you know what
Eh,
dork means.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
fine.
either,
I'm fine
except
with geek.
that I hate that connotation that, hey, just because you're a little odd, you might like, bite the heads off chickens.
eh.
Maybe.
Throwing that out there.
Maybe.
No, but this does make me want to go back and see the original, which apparently, having read up on the background on this, apparently Ron Perlman gave Del Toro a copy of the original novel when they were working on Kronos together. So this is something that
Oh.
that Del Toro has been wanting to do for a long, long time, which I'm going to have to freely account for. My initial reaction to this movie as I was watching it, and make no mistake, I loved it as well. My initial reaction when we were watching it was, this is great. How in the hell does this movie exist?
Mm.
Because the only way that I could account for it existing was after, Shape of Water or some other, incidental success. Somebody went to Del Toro and said, make whatever you want. And this was what he wanted to make. Because I certainly can't imagine anybody at a studio bringing it to him.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anyone at a studio, frankly, thinking it was a particularly good idea, especially not in the present climate.
But it is absolutely in his wheelhouse. It
is absolutely in his wheelhouse.
It being circulating around the circus world and the sideshow world and things that are absolutely Del Toro's realm.
Yeah, none of this constitutes in any way a criticism of the film. It's just it is an extraordinary and ultimately ephemeral thing, and doubtless the result of an extraordinary collection of circumstances that account for the fact that the movie even exists in the first place. In a roundabout fashion, it gives me hope that maybe this isn't the darkest timeline after all.
It's so good that I have recommended it to 3 people already.
Wow.
So, and we just started watching it last night and finished it today.
And you're not even a noir junkie.
No, it's just that great. It really is. Yeah, it's got some disturbing stuff, but hey, no kids are harmed, and I don't think there are any kids in it. And it's just so good, and it kind of feels like everybody gets what they deserve.
Except maybe aside from a little bit of an extra gravelly voice, Cate Blanchett's Auntie Lauren Bacall, I kept calling her while we were watching the thing.
You felt like she didn't get what... I think she was so tortured. Hey, actually, that's something I want to talk about. That was the one thing that bothered me. Why was she so dead set against Stanton? Why did she want to take him down? Was it because of the reading that he gave her at their first meeting in that club in the Copacabana?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah, it was revenge.
It was revenge. Also, I think she was expecting him to be a con up to her caliber, and she was disappointed in him for being that fucking basic.
I don't know.
Well,
I think this was all just an egotistical revenge for calling her on her shit during his performance, because he was a vindictive, petty little shit when he did have her number to whatever degree he had it.
But he only said like 2 sentences.
Yes, but it was
her.
it was how he said them.
It was in front of so many people too.
The movie is a study of dueling egos, as much as anything else.
I'll go with that.
Yeah, which doesn't even happen until the second half. The first half, aside from me assuming he's going to become a geek at the circus, I loved that the first half was just circus stuff with no real story.
Yeah.
I love
and
the
no
in and out.
clowns.
Yeah, I love that they taught him how all these scams worked, or how he what was a scam? How he learned to be a mentalist, basically. How they explained the codes and stuff like that. I just kind of love it was almost like a slice of life for a little bit. For almost an hour.
This makes me want to hunt up the novel, because apparently there is an incredible amount of stuff in the novel that has been adapted in neither film version. As Del Toro himself apparently said, the novel is a saga. But yeah, no, this makes me want to look this up. But
the only thing I would register as a slight criticism of it was in the character of the magnate that he kills at the end, where
the very wonderful, and in this case, deeply hissable Richard Jenkins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's usually so likable. He's such a
Playing
kind
a
face, kind manner.
Yeah, I mean, consider the role that he played in The Shape of Water. He was so nice.
Yes.
He was so nice.
But in this
You were
one,
saying.
I felt that his risible nature was a little bit too compressed in order to justify getting beaten to death at the hands of our, hero isn't really the term for it.
Well,
but to sort of justify
his crimes, considering his crimes, though.
Reveal.
But that's the
Yeah.
thing.
I
the
don't
crimes,
feel like
the crimes that were described were sort of tossed out there at the end, that he's hurt so many women. And then suddenly our hero, who has been utterly callous in pretty much all respects up to this point,
gets utterly destroyed by the one moment of arguable decency he shows in the entire picture.
No, that's not true. The way I saw it, well, I mean, it could be true, but I mean, hey, the way I read it was, the guy said all these things, and then the ruse was up, and he was upset that he didn't win. He didn't. He didn't complete his con, and because of that, he is all fury. He is like, this didn't work, and fuck you.
Well, no, he also knows he's in mortal danger. He's been threatened by the man.
Yeah.
He knows if he doesn't kill him, if he doesn't kill Richard Jenkins, Richard Jenkins is going to have him killed, and he knows he has that guy played
very
by
pragmatic.
Holt, the always wonderful Holt McCallany.
Yeah,
or
he knows that guy's waiting in the
McElhaney.
wings.
I've never actually heard how to pronounce it, but I love him. Love that guy in every frickin' movie I've ever seen him, going all the way back to Alien 3.
Yeah.
He's amazing in Mindhunter.
He's amazing in Mindhunter. He's amazing in David Twohy and Darren Aronofsky's Below. He's actually really good in a little independent but fairly nifty movie that came out a couple of years ago called Beyond Whitespace, which I can see him taking just because it was that rare opportunity for him to play a lead. He's one of those guys that I am always overjoyed to see, and if he threatens you, you have been threatened.
This may be a case then of me misreading the character motivation in the killing there, because the brutality with which he decides to execute this magnate that he has been trying to con at the end of it, I didn't think bespoke the jig is up and I got to cover my tracks. I didn't think it bespoke how dare you not be conned by me. I thought it was a very sudden turn based on his brief confession to having done something nebulous somewhere else, which is why I thought it was too much of a
combination. I think it was sort of like he was convincing himself, this guy's a criminal. He killed women. And he beat me at my own game. Boom, boom. I mean, I think he was like justifying.
Like I said, I think I definitely got it from the expression on Cooper's face as he was talking about hurting the women. That moment where even it reminded me a tiny bit of S. Craig Zahler's Dragged Across Concrete, which is a movie about two unbelievably horrible cops, played by Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, wonderfully, by the way, who run into something that's even more horrible than they are and have that moment of fundamental moral revulsion.
But, I mean, that was where I felt it was pushing just a little too far, because I did read it that way. In the look on his face at that confession, it felt a little too engineered. But again, maybe I'm misreading it. Maybe
I see that, but I kind of think you're right, because I feel like that might have been like gearing himself up, like this guy is bad. It's okay if I take him out
and not worry about it.
I feel fine about this.
I watched this show on Netflix, The Worst Roommate Ever.
I did too.
So good. It's so good.
I overheard some of it.
There was an episode about this guy Yosef, who would con people, and that's all he ever did was con people. And when his con eventually ran out, he would try to kill them.
Yeah.
He would just grab a stick. He had no plan at that point. He would just grab a stick and try to beat him over the head and kill them as quickly as possible. And he failed twice.
Twice this exact same thing too.
But it reminds me of Carlisle in that I really think he is similar in that regard.
And we've also established that he killed his own father, so we know he's capable of murder. He's capable of these cold-blooded crimes if the situation arises.
And he can justify it, I think, too. I think he.
The one question I had was, I don't understand how his nose fell off.
Oh, no, he punched it in.
He punched it in?
Punched it into. Yeah.
Consider the last Boy Scout.
Smashed it in.
I guess. I don't know if it would be that gruesome. Like, the nose wouldn't be gone entirely, as far as I know.
I don't know if he smashed it in. And then, of course, he was pulling teeth out of his knuckles.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it pretty large. It looked like it was just caved right up in there.
Can you do that with your fist?
It takes a lot.
Yes.
As I say, consider the last Boy Scout. You know,
it's also a movie. It's not.
Well, both of these are movies.
They want scientific
we're talking about.
I felt it was maybe a little overly grisly just because it's Guillermo Del Toro and he's kind of expected to do that, and I found it a little bit of a turnoff. It's my one criticism.
Yeah, it was really grisly. Those 5 minutes were like, wow. Mm-hmm. Of course, the chicken head biting, I did just say, I'm not watching. I hate chickens. I hate them, but I just couldn't.
Chickens are naturally vile creatures, so.
Yeah, they're gross.
Dirty
they
yard
are the
birds.
worst.
Yeah.
If you've ever lived around chickens, you will know those things are horrifying. I mean, we had cats that would catch mice. They would steal the mice from the cats, the chickens would, and eat them and tear them apart.
Yeah.
And fight over them. There's blood all over the chicken. Oh, God, they're vile. They taste great, though.
Kind of like people.
Oh, yeah. I guess. I don't know. I'm still curious about that. I someday.
It's just like pork.
I mean,
just like pork, long pig.
Talk a little bit about the absolutely stacked cast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, my word.
Like, even in like two scene roles, you get Toni Collette, you got Willem Dafoe, you have Clifton Collins.
This is a movie.
What is he doing there?
This is a movie where Stephen McHattie turns up as hobo number 1. I mean, it's the well keep. It first turns up as like, oh, it's a God, he's in this. Good. Oh, and they keep surprising you up until Richard Jenkins turning up, Holt McCallany turning up. Like I say, last minute, Stephen McHattie. Good Lord. The voice of Canadian genre cinema.
Yeah, Toni Collette in this. Oh, God, I loved her. I loved her more than Cate Blanchett because she just has so much more depth to her character. There was so much more. I mean, okay, so Death of Pete. Do you think
it was an
that
accident?
Xena? No, I think Xena asked. I think she asked Stanton to get the wrong.
No, I think.
Oh no! So. Yes, watch after when he's about to leave. There is I cannot remember the exact thing, but it seemed to me
it's like
that
you
she
can
was
keep
all
it.
like,
You've earned it.
Yep, you did what I needed you to do. Thanks.
I don't
because
know
she
if I agree
what
with
did
you,
she
but...
do? Like she knew him like 5
as...
minutes, and she was like grabbing him by the handle.
I took that as a kind of I know what you did, and I'm not going to tell anybody kind of. That's what I
think it was
got
more
from
like
her.
I know what you did, but and thanks.
I took it
that's
as,
all I needed.
I took it as her acknowledging that he had been conning all the tricks out of Pete over this time. Not conning, but cozying up to the family in order to get all of the family secrets and get away with all of the grifter tricks.
Yeah, but she loved Pete, but he was really kind of fucking up her act and causing trouble, and she wasn't particularly loyal to him because Bradley Cooper's blue eyes. Like I said, she didn't know in 5 minutes before
Yeah.
She was like
You know,
doing stuff
handy
to him.
in the tub.
Handy in the tub.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the cast in this movie is absolutely staggering from top to bottom, and it keeps surprising you with who else they managed to slip into the thing. I mean, not just longtime collaborators like Dafoe, but I mean, good Lord, Rooney Mara is possibly the most genuinely sweet and nice and unnuanced character I think I've ever seen Rooney Mara play. This is the only movie I can recall where she smiles.
And that took a while.
like at all.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
she
don't get me
doesn't-
wrong, fantastic actress. It's just this is kind of the most. And she does a very good job at it. It turns out she has a very nice smile. I hate to kind of lean into that particular sort of obnoxious cultural trope, but no, she very effectively underplays a very sweet character who realizes from a very early point, or at least about the midpoint of the movie, that she is into a situation that is way over her head.
I mean, I thought she was good, but I felt her character was a little bit underused. I mean, she was basically the girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's just kind of supporting him.
Yeah, we kept being afraid that she was going to be the Gizmo. I'm kind of glad that she was not
Yeah.
the Gizmo.
Yeah.
I mean, she has some good stuff going on with the electrocution thing, and I mean, it's not like she was.
Props to
completely
that visual.
She
by
was
the way, just for being
underused
freaking
later. I
amazing.
mean, at that
Yeah.
point when she was at the circus, she was alive and things were good. And when she left with Stanton, things kind of didn't go so well for her, or she became, second banana or, fourth banana or
Well, I mean,
whatever.
he was also verbally abusive to her. In
Terribly.
the training, he would be like, "Oh, you screwed up," as he's walking off stage. While they're still doing the show, it's like, "Yeah, you."
And
fucked
that
up," or
didn't
whatever.
Yeah.
take long to turn, did it? That was pretty much the next scene after they're driving off all lovey-dovey in the
couple-
car.
Yeah,
like
2
they
years.
said,
2
2
years later.
2 years.
2 years, one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
well, I say amusingly, not exactly amusingly, but apparently they shot all of the latter half of the movie first, and then they had a long COVID break before they did all of the earlier parts of the movie.
Oh.
So there is not quite a 2-year divide there, but there is definitely a divide. But ultimately, it still ends up working just because all of the content is so fascinating. And in the meantime, we are anchored by Bradley Cooper, who is doing the almost impossible, which is playing a cipher we can stand to watch for 2.5 hours.
That at the end turns out to be not so much of a cipher, but an absolute bastard on every level. And I mean, I knew he was bad news
to the
from
point where even he realizes he's a bastard.
Yeah.
And
he was born
he
to
was
be
born
a
to
geek.
be a geek. And I mean, in the opening scene, we know nobody ever dumps a body into the bottom of a shack and sets fire to the place because it's a
Yeah.
That
good
was
thing.
stupid.
Yeah.
And so we know he's a ne'er-do-well. We know something bad has happened here.
Yeah,
And
but
then they
why
spend
would
a
you
gr-
do
they
that?
spend a-
Why would you bury it and then burn the body?
Because then the
Never mind,
building
sorry.
falls on the body and it bakes, and there's a pretty good chance it's going
Buries
to
it.
completely destroy the body and bury it for you.
Or leave just enough remains that you're like, why?
Or the
why is it
forensics
under
of
the floor?
1940.
Well, that's true. They probably don't give
And
a
he
shit. But if
clearly
he just left it
fucking
in the
hated it.
Yeah.
bed,
Yeah.
No, he said so explicitly, right at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
He just let the guy freeze to death, and
Yeah, well,
course,
his
yeah.
own father.
I'm sure. Yeah, and I'm sure there's some motive of revenge there in burning everything, not just the practical reason, but just like fuck you.
Well,
the
no,
interest-
I mean, the Dr. Ritter, Cate Blanchett, absolutely had his number from the get-go, every bit as much as he had hers, probably more so.
Yeah, well, obviously more so because she did in fact pull him in and con him in the long game. But
Yep.
I mean, we start out with that scene which tells us this is a terrible person, and then proceeds to charm us for an hour and 20 minutes before we get to the point, we're watching him learn this cleverness, and, he uses it to save the circus at one point when the locals all get all up in arms. And then,
Jim Beaver.
yeah, and then he goes, off.
Yes, Jim Beaver, exactly.
Then he goes off, and
Bobby
we
Singer.
start remembering that, wait, he was a terrible person, right? We don't know why, but he's a terrible person. And then by the time we get to the end, yeah, he was born to be a geek.
I
didn't-
like that. I thought that was effective.
No, that
I thought
I'm
that was
saying
really
that
nice.
was good.
Yeah.
Oh, you
No,
good.
I'm just saying that the fact that Cooper could
I
pull it
misunderstood.
off
Yes.
is an extraordinary tightrope.
Yes,
tightrope
because
act.
it's taking a character we've been told at the very start is bad, making us like him, and then turning him on us. And it is a tightrope act from beginning to end.
Haha.
And he does it very well. Sorry.
I did
Yeah, he's
not
more than
like
just a
him.
pair of
You didn't
blue
like him at any point?
eyes.
No,
Oh,
I didn't
that's-
like the character. I mean the character,
Yeah, I
not
know.
Bradley Cooper. No.
That's what I figured you meant.
Okay. No, I did not like that character. He just seemed very narcissistic and
Yeah.
scummy to me, and I was just waiting for him to do something awful, and that was kill Pete.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean that was the thing. As
Yeah.
much as anything else, I always say that. But the thing was, I wasn't watching him because I liked him. I wasn't. You're kind of forced to root for him just a little bit from moment to moment, but fundamentally, it's just interested in one, what's he gonna do next,
Where is this going?
and two, ultimately waiting for that reveal of what really is his deal. Well, the deal ultimately was not the most profound thing in the world, and he had basically stated it explicitly about 45 minutes earlier. But that's that's fine. The point is, the guy has a soul. It's a bad soul, and he knows it's a bad soul, and that's why he so kind of understands where he's at the end of the movie.
Consigns himself to his own hell.
Yeah. Deliberately, because he knows damn well he deserves it.
Yeah,
that's
it's a story about hubris.
Yes. Like I say, dueling egos, but one ego in particular. It is fascinating that it should be a movie, given that so many Del Toro movies have banked so much on the likability of the characters as much as anything else, that this is a movie where the most likable character is played by a Mara sister.
Why don't we go ahead and go into final thoughts on Nightmare Alley, if you have any?
Beautiful,
Stunningly
beautiful to look
beautiful.
at. Yeah, I got nominated for costume design. I think not costume design. But
Yes,
production
it was
design.
costume design,
Okay, but
actually,
all
yeah.
those are
Cinematography,
yeah.
costume design.
No acting, but
Huh.
But you know what,
you know.
though? The acting is top
It's
notch.
very
The
good.
acting
Yeah.
is top notch, but it's the serviceable kind of notch. There are no showboats in this movie. Not even Cooper.
No,
Not even
because
Cooper
there's
in the
so
lead.
many characters too.
Yeah.
I mean that
yeah.
that might have been part of its issue. But I mean, Bradley Cooper did a great
He did a
job.
fantastic job.
Really good. I
at
mean,
the
he's
same
not
time,
one of my favorite actors, and I was like the whole time just like, wow.
Well, I mean, that's the beauty part for a lead in this case, is that he gave so much space to everyone else he was working with, but still managed to maintain attention.
Yep.
It is a remarkably generous ensemble, because lots of people should be acting each other off the screen, but everybody makes the deliberate choice not to, just to work together. It's a beautifully mounted picture. Especially from an acting standpoint, but basically in every conceivable way. The score by Desplat is not the most memorable, but certainly highly effective and agreeable to listen to. The visuals are sumptuous. Every second of the screen, even the dirty stuff, looks remarkably dirty.
Every shadow and every highlight is just.
No, cinematography was absolutely one of the nominations
absolutely.
that this should have received, and absolutely one of the ones that it got. It is one of those things that I can see why it flopped. Because it is a movie for an adult audience, and especially leaning toward an older adult audience in a time when adults just aren't going to the cinemas. And at the same time, it was not particularly advertised. The fact that it got such critical acclaim, as well as the Oscar noms, I'd say is the victory lap that it probably deserved. But this movie was never going to make a dime in the cinema.
Where do you think it's going to rest in Guillermo's filmography? Is it destined to be forgotten because it is not a genre pick in the horror monster realm, but is instead wandering off into noir and drama?
No, I mean, like I say, for fans of neo-noir movies, this is probably already a touchstone. I feel confident that it's going to hold up. It's not, like I say, the ones that are going to jump immediately to people's mind, but it is one of those ones that I think will gain in reputation as time goes on. And as more people discover it on VOD and on video, because Lord knows they missed it in the freaking theater.
Well, yeah. Let's leave on that note that people should see this movie. It's on HBO Max and Hulu right now. It's readily available. We didn't spoil it, did we? We spoiled it.
Yeah, we totally did.
Totally
we told
spoiled it.
everybody that he was going to be the geek. But you know what? It doesn't even matter. It's so beautiful.
I pretty much got that from the beginning of the movie, but it's still fairly enthralling. There are very few movies that I have liked this much that have so unlikable characters all the way through.
So I'm the only one who is fooled. That's what you're telling me.
Maybe. And hey, it's the only circus movie I know of without a clown.
I did.
Yeah.
I did want to say, Matt, it did not even occur to me that he was going to be the geek as I was watching the film, because I tried something different with this one. Usually I take a whole shit ton of notes when we're watching movies, but this one I just wanted to enjoy the film and let it wash over me. And that's how I watched it. No note taking, just watching the film. I turned off subtitles and turned the sound up so I could hear them, and watched it as I would in a movie theater. And I think it really added to the experience. And not jumping ahead and trying to guess what's going on allowed me to really enjoy the film from moment to moment.
Good.
I just wanted to bring that up briefly.
It is a sumptuous audio-visual experience, aside from being an interesting narrative and an acting showcase.
We should totally watch it sometime again, sweetie, without knowing everything. We should definitely watch it again.
I'm curious to see all of the hints and clues and setups and foreshadowing and stuff that apparently I missed the first time around.
Oh.
Do you have any other thoughts, Shane?
No, I'm good. I think you guys covered enough. I mean, I love the movie, even though I figured out the ending, not intentionally, but I mean, the fact that he says Nightmare Alley in the monologue where he explains how a geek becomes a geek was a little bit.
He said it. He said the title of the movie.
That's the game we play at home whenever somebody says the title. Anyway.
That, and of course, special thanks to Guillermo Del Toro.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here on What's on the Pile. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at What's on the Pile. You can find us on YouTube under the Punch Bunny channel, or you can visit our website, whatsonthepile.com. Thanks for hanging out.